Welcome to On Cooldown, the weekly WoW news show right here on Marcelian&Online. In today's episode, we will talk about class changes, buffs, nerfs, the specs, and essences as well. Season 2 will end soon, with Season 3 to follow, and how will the new affix work out?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. Blizzard has cancelled a Starcraft shooter. I repeat, Blizzard has cancelled a potential Starcraft game to focus on Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2. That is all.
Hello, you wonderful viewer from home, work, or your girlfriend's bathroom.
We're not done talking about this!
It's the weekend, and during the weekend we watch some WoW news about the goings-on of Blizzard and Warcraft, and just chill.
Play!
On with the show! First on the news today are class changes. We've been seeing Frost Decay changes in the last couple of weeks in the hopes of making the spec viable again. One of the main issues Frost Decays were dealing with was inefficient Breath of Sindragosa's usage, where the talent posed rotation problems and resource problems as explained and addressed by the devs. The other issue was, with so much focus on this talent, was that this was the only talent considered from its respective row. Now we see buffs and nerfs with the attempt to balance the spec and make the talents more competitive, such as the Ice Cap talent that will reduce the cooldown of Pillar of Frost by 3 seconds, up from 1 second each time you crit with Frost Strike and Obliterate. Unholy Decays have seen buffs across the board to multiple abilities. We all know Unholy deals massive AoE damage in dungeons and Reaping especially, but not much else. All of these changes will bump them a bit higher hopefully. Havoc Demon Hunters get a small nerf to Chaos Strike and the Trail of Ruin talent, but a buff to Mastery. This is most likely to reduce the stupid damage this talent puts out and make the spec less of a one-trick pony. Vengeance also gets a damage buff to Soul Cleave. Survival Hunters get a small damage buff to their Mastery, while Frost Mages get a nerf to Glacial Spike, apparently because there was an unintended buff coming from their Mastery and this should offset that. Discipline Priests are getting a nerf to Shadow Word Pain base damage, but the hidden damage aura that was reducing its output to begin with is being removed, essentially making the class more in tune with the tooltip of the spell and the math behind it. Premonition is also changed for PvP to a larger area, but the heal and atonement effects reduced. Shadow is seeing essentially the same nerf to Shadow Word Pain, but no negative aura removal, so Pain might actually hit for less overall. Nothing hidden about Auspicious Spirits being taken down to 50% bonus damage, down from 70%. Affliction Warlocks get a rework to the Endless Affliction talent, hopefully bringing the spec back into the meta. Protection Warriors are seeing a further nerf to Unstoppable Force, now down to 30% bonus damage. For those of you worried, the data mine damage loss is not significant enough to make the spec unviable. Not to mention, with a lack of Reaping, AoE damage won't be as crucial in 8.2 anymore. Arms Warriors are seeing buffs on multiple abilities. Although Arms suffers from time to time from a downtime issue, the mechanics of the spec are cool in my opinion, and a different feel than Fury. It just wasn't doing competitive damage. The increase in damage looks very good, and the boys from the Skyhold Discord and General Warrior Theory Crafters have mathed out that all of this would give you a rough 5% overall damage buff if you have over 410 eye level. Is 5% enough to scale Arms into competitiveness in 8.2? Time will tell. Holy Paladins have seen some awesome gameplay with their Glimmer of Light build, and certain people, myself included, are advocating having this Glimmer mechanic be something Holy Paladins should have as part of their baseline kit. With this aside, Glimmer has seen tremendous usage to the point where the proc of the Azerite trait will be nerfed. That means that when you hit a target with Holy Shock and that target has Glimmer, the heal and damage the targets will take is going to be 10-12% smaller. The Theory Crafters have mathed this out to be an overall 3-4% overall throughput nerf, and it will serve to put Holy Paladins in line with other healers, considering one of the major benefits of this buff is the mana conservation you get by using so many Crusader strikes. and I don't think I should mention how important mana preservation is for healers. Other buffs to paladins come in the form of the rework to Unbound Freedom, the PvP talent. In 8.2 it will become undispellable, and when you cast Freedom on a friendly target, you will get it too. And we have more updates, mostly nerfs to essences coming in 8.2, so prepare to see this happen more and more until the devs feel the essences are in tune with each other. One of the essences hit the hardest was Blood of the Enemy. The crit strike buff you get, that stacks, has been nerfed by 50% from what the tooltip would suggest, while the amount of stacks has been raised to 40. When you reach full stacks, they get consumed, giving you a haste buff for 8 seconds, down from 10 seconds. The extra chance to consume fewer stacks and give you the same buff has been nerfed to consume 30 stacks instead of 15 stacks. Memory of Lucid Dreams will give you a bigger increase in leech. Unbound Force was nerfed to proc 20 times per minute instead of 40 times. And the Well of Existence stacks less overhealing and procs when targets are below 50% HP instead of 60%. There will be more and more changes as we approach Season 3. We already have an essence guide with their effects and obtaining methods that you guys should check out. I will update the vid in the comments with everything that happens and changes to essences, so make sure to check the pinned ones as well. When 8.2 launches, Season 2 will end, with Season 3 starting a little while later. Azerite gains, however, seem to have been buffed to maintain a steady progression towards the later stages of your necklace. You can still farm Titan Residuum in Mythic Plus to stockpile for Season 3, and as you may have expected, the prices will change to adjust to this situation. The only crossover we have is that the Mythic level gear we have now will be the same price as the normal gear in 8.2 while costing the same amount of Residuum and having the same eye level, of course. However, that will scale up tremendously from the looks of it, which isn't surprising considering we had the Residuum at the end of Season 1, where we could buy the normal gear with 15 Titan Residuum, as opposed to 165 now, and 1750 in Season 3. There seems to be a mathematical progression, more substantial than a geometrical one, since the increase in cost was made by a 3.3333 coefficient that started to become larger the more eye level we had on our Azerite. But at the same time, the weekly chest rewards more Residuum the higher the completed key is with each progressing season. Once Season 2 is close to ending, we will get a heads up with a 2-week pause in between the 8.2 launch and Season 3 becoming live. Season 2 will officially end with the release of 8.2. And with Season 3 we have the new affix called Beguiling, which we mentioned last week. This week we have more details on them, however. The affix will spawn Ajara emissaries throughout the dungeon, and there are 3 types that will completely change how you will approach each pool. The Arcane Emissary, or the Enchanted Emissary, has an aura that makes everyone but her reflect 200% of the damage they receive back at the attacker, us, with a passive on her that knocks her back when she is attacked, meaning we can push her away from the pack she is protecting. The emissary has a crap ton of health and an energy bar that depletes over 30 seconds. When it's gone, the ad teleports out of the dungeon. Second emissary is the Shadow or Void Emissary that can detect stealth and has a cast every 8 seconds that will deal 50% of the target's health in damage in a 60-yard radius to all enemies, meaning you cannot get hit by this. This effect is subject to line of sight, meaning you need to LOS every cast until you actually kill her. Last emissary is the Tides Emissary that provides the unstoppable aura to all mobs around her, making them immune to CC, interrupts, and generally all form of crowd control effect. Ugh. Here probably will be a test of DPS where she needs to go down and needs to go down fast and hard. In the Forbes interview we covered last week, Ian mentioned the spawning of these emissaries will change every time, meaning either randomly, which I doubt, or they will have some specific spawn locations to force us to approach the dungeon differently, a fact they claim they want us to do since Blizzard doesn't like it when we shroud skips. Another week passes and PTR testing for heroic warfronts still elude me. The lovely Warcraft community, however, data mined some info that WoW had graciously made into an article which I recommend you guys check out. There are a few differences between the normal and heroic versions, and currently we have Arathi only on the PTR, but likely this will extend to Darkshore, and if they keep up with the way the heroic development looks like, I will actually want more warfronts. The item level reward will be a 425 piece, just below the heroic raid eye level, which is a good change from the season 400 eye level reward that is exactly the same as the heroic gear, thus invalidating heroic raiders. To get into a warfront, you need a group of 10-20 people that cannot be changed once you are in. The enemy commanders scale with the number of people in the group. The activities seem to be the same, with the added effect that your bases will be assaulted by strong commanders that will require most of the raid to kill. At first, however. After we get more gear throughout the expansion, it's likely we will have an easier time, and we can lose these warfronts, by the way. The devs mentioned that they want to add activities and events that force us to divide our numbers and tackle them. Certain activities demanding a specific combination of players. This is cool. This is a feature that we thought warfronts would have at the beginning. The warfront system has potential of becoming a fun map, hopefully with a bit of unpredictability to keep its replayability high. Not sure if the 8.2 changes solves all that, but again, working in the right direction, which kind of makes it seem like we will get the expansion we were hoping for at the end of its lifespan. Call to action for everyone in our Horde and Alliance communities. If you're interested in testing group PTR stuff like raids, heroic warfronts, mechagon and other things, feel free to let us know. It's a bit difficult to find groups these days since most people run PTR with their guilds. On to the breaking news! Blizzard cancelled an upcoming Starcraft shooter game that was being developed since 2017, plus an unannounced mobile game, so that they can devote their efforts towards Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2. Okay, there's a lot to dissect here. This isn't the first time Blizzard cancelled a game, and not the first time they cancelled another Starcraft shooter. Back in the early 20s, they cancelled Starcraft Ghost, which was a covered ops Tom Clancy style game where you would take Nova, the Ghost, in secret ops mission. The game was supposed to release on the PlayStation platform, but got sacked in 2006. In 2017, they started working on another potential Starcraft shooter, and just before having it cancelled, they were even working with Zergs as playable characters. All of this was leaked, and the IP was cancelled allegedly so that the staff can work on the upcoming Diablo 4 title and Overwatch 2 game. The people working on the Starcraft project did not get laid off, Blizzard confirms. Overwatch 2 is rumored to have a PvE type game mode similar to Left 4 Dead. I was never a big FPS player, but I never had as much fun playing an FPS as I did playing the Left 4 Dead games. All of this packed with the 8.2 changes build a better image for Blizzard. They do seem to listen. The fact that they cancelled the mobile game alongside with Starcraft, which I will forever feel sad about, being a Starcraft fan and all, brings a bit more hope to the PC gaming community. Cancelling IPs is one thing, making them worth it is another. I think I can safely say that we want an R-rated Diablo 4 game. If you disagree, leave a comment and tell me how Diablo Immortal is a much better game. Lastly, mounts. Yep, we are getting a lot of new mounts in 8.2, and together with mounts, toys and pets. We sometimes forget that WoW has a collection going around for those who actually want everything. Blizzard has made a public post summarizing all these new goodies that we will have, where they drop and such. Having everything grouped nicely puts the content a bit into perspective. It's cool they added so many things for us to collect, and some of them seem like they would require quite a bit of effort. One of the mounts most of you will probably be excited for is the Crab Mount, aka the Snapback Scuttler. The only current mount to walk sideways. This bad boy is achieved from the achievement Undersea Usurper, which is a list of achievements portraying to 8.2 Nazjatar more exactly. Some of these we get from doing cool feats, others from reputation, vendors, and even quests. It's a bit daunting to go through all of them in the video, which is actually kinda exciting considering we have so much stuff in the patch that it's hard to talk about all of them. Season 3 is not out yet, so until then you might want to brush up on certain specs and classes for which we have guides. Really easy and fast to pick up if you want to go to an alt or maybe want to switch mains and do some raids and dungeons. We love and appreciate our patrons and their continued support for our content and everything we do. It's not required, but we very much appreciate if you want to become a Patreon as well, and if you do, there are details down below. While gearing and preparing for 8.2 and Season 3, you will definitely need some epics in real life. MarcelianOnline epics, 100% guaranteed of no Titan Forging bullshit and 100% guarantee of dropping with the best in slot stats. Check our t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies and mugs down on our official Teespring link. Thanks for watching the video, have an amazing weekend.